Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered if we are alone in the universe? Perhaps a more urgent question lies closer to home. Are we right now living through the final chapter of humanity? It is a thought that sends a chill down the spine. We often imagine our end in a flash of light, a cosmic collision, an alien invasion. But what if the end is not a sudden bang? What if it is a slow, quiet fade? This is a story about the challenges we face today, challenges that are unlike any we have faced before. They are not coming from the heavens above, they are coming from within. We are a species defined by our stories, stories of creation, stories of heroes, stories of great journeys, and epic battles. For millennia, we have assumed that our story would continue indefinitely, passed down from one generation to the next. We built civilizations, reached for the moon, and unlocked the secrets of the atom. We saw ourselves as the masters of our own destiny, forever marching forward on a path of progress. But this assumption of an endless future is now being questioned. The narrative we have told ourselves for so long is starting to show cracks, revealing a much more uncertain and fragile reality than we ever dared to imagine. The signs are all around us if we choose to see them. They are not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they are as subtle as a statistic in a government report. Sometimes they are as personal as a young person's quiet despair. These signs point to a confluence of pressures, a perfect storm of our own making. Humanity is no stranger to catastrophe. Our long history is a testament to our resilience, a story etched with the scars of survival. Consider the Toba supervolcano eruption, some 74,000 years ago. It plunged the world into a volcanic winter. Scientists believe it may have reduced our ancestors to just a few thousand individuals. From that tiny, fragile population, we managed to claw our way back. We not only survived, we spread across the entire planet, adapting to every climate and continent. Then came the plagues. The Black Death in the 14th century was a specter of unimaginable horror. It swept through Asia and Europe, claiming the lives of up to 200 million people. It wiped out as much as half of Europe's population. Entire towns were abandoned, and the fabric of society was torn apart. Yet from the ashes of that devastation, a new world was born. The great wars of the 20th century saw humanity turn its industrial and scientific might against itself. Millions perished on battlefields, in bombed-out cities, and in concentration camps. The invention of nuclear weapons brought us to the very brink of total annihilation. For decades, we lived under the constant shadow of a mushroom cloud, a single button press away from global suicide. Yet even then we found a way to pull back from the abyss. Through ice ages, famines, pandemics, and wars, we have proven one thing again and again. We are survivors. Our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to endure hardship is perhaps our greatest defining trait. This long and difficult history has given us a sense of confidence, perhaps even a sense of invincibility. But this confidence may now be our greatest vulnerability. The threats we face today are different. They are not a single monstrous event. Volcano, asteroid, they are not a foreign army marching across our borders. The dangers of the 21st century are quiet, they are insidious. They are deeply woven into the fabric of our global civilization. These are problems of our own creation, the unintended consequences of our own success. We are not fighting a visible enemy, we are wrestling with the complex systems we ourselves have built. These systems are now beginning to fail us in ways we did not anticipate. Think of it like a slow-acting poison, not a sudden blow. Past disasters were often acute and localized. The Black Death eventually burned itself out. Wars came to an end. But the challenges of today are chronic and global. Climate change does not have a finish line. The depletion of resources does not have an armistice. The decay of social cohesion does not have a peace treaty. These are not passing storms we can wait out in a shelter. They are fundamental changes to the very environment in which we live. These new threats are interconnected like never before. A changing climate worsens resource scarcity. Resource scarcity can lead to political instability, conflict. The rise of artificial intelligence disrupts labor markets. That disruption can fuel social unrest and economic anxiety. A decline in birth rates weakens economic foundations needed to tackle these problems. It is a complex web of cause and effect, each problem amplifying the others. Pulling one thread tightens knots elsewhere, a trap of our own design. This quiet, systemic nature makes today's threats uniquely dangerous. We are like the frog in a pot of slowly boiling water. There is no single moment of crisis to rally against. No clear villain to unite us. The enemy, if there is one, is our own way of life. The momentum of our global economy, our consumption habits, our short-term thinking. One of the most profound and quietest threats we face is a simple biological one. We are slowly ceasing to replace ourselves. Around the world, birth rates are plummeting at a staggering rate. For a population to remain stable, the total fertility rate, the average number of children born per woman, needs to be around 2.1. This is known as the replacement rate. Today, a huge portion of the world's population lives in countries that have fallen far below this crucial number. This is not a distant future problem. It is happening right now, and its effects are beginning to be felt. Consider the numbers. In the 1950s, the global average fertility rate was nearly 5 children per woman. As of 2023, it has fallen to around 2.3, and it is still dropping fast. Many of the world's most developed nations are far lower. South Korea has a fertility rate of just 0.72, the lowest in the world. Japan, Spain, Italy, even demographic giants like China and India. More than half of all humanity now lives in a country where the population is no longer naturally sustaining itself. This demographic decline is a silent crisis. A world with fewer and fewer young people and a growing population of the elderly faces enormous challenges. Who will work in the factories and hospitals? Who will innovate and create the next generation of art and science? Who will pay the taxes needed to support pensions and healthcare for a swelling number of retirees? An aging society is often a less dynamic, less optimistic, and more risk-averse society. The economic engine that has powered our progress for centuries begins to sputter and slow down. The falling birth rates are a symptom of a deeper loss of faith in the future, a quiet vote of no confidence in the world we have built. While our numbers may be shrinking, the planet itself is groaning under our pressure. For decades, scientists have warned us about the consequences of pumping carbon into our atmosphere. For a long time, those warnings felt abstract, a problem for our grandchildren. But the future is now. We are no longer talking about predictions. We are living through the consequences. The climate disasters we once saw in speculative films are now leading our nightly news broadcasts with alarming and increasing regularity. The Earth's systems are beginning to break down. The evidence is all around us. Wildfires of unprecedented scale and intensity are charring vast landscapes: Australia, Canada, the Amazon, Siberia. They burn for months, releasing massive amounts of carbon and choking cities thousands of miles away with smoke. At the same time, what is not burning is often flooding. Once-in-a-century storms and floods are becoming once-a-decade or even annual events. Cities like Venice and Miami are grappling with rising sea levels that threaten their very existence. Entire nations, small island states in the Pacific, face being completely submerged beneath the waves. This is not just about dramatic weather events. The changes are systemic. Heat waves are becoming hotter, longer, and more frequent, putting immense strain on agriculture, power grids, and human health. The world's great ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are melting at a rate that alarms even the most seasoned climate scientists. This is not just adding to sea level rise. It is disrupting ocean currents that regulate weather patterns for the entire globe. We are destabilizing the very life support systems of our planet, the delicate balance that has allowed human civilization to flourish for 10,000 years. As our natural world becomes more chaotic, our technological world is undergoing a revolution of its own. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence is no longer the stuff of science fiction. It's a powerful force that is already reshaping our economies, our societies, even our understanding of what it means to be human. AI promises a future of incredible efficiency, discovery, and convenience. It can help us design new medicines, manage complex systems, and unlock new frontiers of science. But it also carries a profound and unsettling risk. The most immediate concern is the impact on human labor. For centuries, new technologies have created new jobs to replace the old ones. When the automobile replaced the horse and buggy, people became factory workers and mechanics. But AI is different. It's not just automating manual tasks, it's beginning to automate cognitive tasks. Jobs once thought to be safe, writing, art, coding, legal analysis, even medical diagnosis, are now being performed by algorithms. We may be facing a future where vast numbers of people are rendered economically obsolete, with no new roles to transition into. This creates a deep and pervasive anxiety. What is our purpose in a world where machines can do most jobs better, faster, and cheaper than we can? A society with mass unemployment or even mass underemployment is a society ripe for instability. It deepens inequality, as those who own the AI systems accumulate vast wealth and power, while the rest are left behind. The social contract that has held our societies together, the idea that if you work hard you can build a good life, begins to break down. This technological disruption fuels a sense of uselessness and despair. Beyond the economic impact, there are deeper, more philosophical questions. As AI becomes more powerful and autonomous, we risk losing control over the complex systems that run our world: financial markets, power grids, military defense systems. A small error, a bug in the code, or an unforeseen interaction could lead to a cascading failure with catastrophic consequences. We are building a world that we may no longer understand, let alone control, placing our fate in the hands of a non-human intelligence we have created. These converging pressures, demographic decline, climate chaos, technological disruption, are having a profound psychological impact, especially on the younger generation. Young people today are coming of age in a world that feels fundamentally broken and uncertain. They're inheriting a planet in crisis and a society that seems to be losing its way. The optimism that once defined youth is being replaced by anxiety, cynicism, and nihilism. They're asking a very simple and very difficult question. What is the point? Think about their perspective. They're told to study hard, get a good job, but they see AI threatening to make their chosen careers obsolete. They're encouraged to save money, buy a home, but they face a housing market that is impossibly expensive and an economy that feels rigged against them. They're shown images of a beautiful natural world, but they're told it is being systematically destroyed and that they will have to live with the consequences. The traditional pillars of a meaningful life, a stable career, a family, a home, a healthy planet, all seem to be crumbling. This is leading to a palpable crisis of purpose. When the future feels this precarious, long-term planning seems futile. Why start a family on a burning planet? Why build a career in a world of automated labor? This sentiment is reflected in rising rates of mental health issues among young people, including depression and anxiety. There's a sense of being trapped, of being born into the final, messy act of a long play, with no power to change the script. This is not laziness or entitlement, it's a rational response to a deeply irrational world. This loss of hope is perhaps the most dangerous threat of all. Let us engage in a thought experiment, a chilling but necessary one. Strip away our assumptions and our hopes, and look only at the trajectory we are on. Imagine a world a few decades from now. The global population is shrinking and rapidly aging. The workforce is hollowed out, struggling to support an enormous elderly population. The dynamism that comes from youth is in short supply. The innovation that comes from youth is in short supply. Economies are stagnant or in decline, unable to fund the massive investments needed to transition away from fossil fuels or adapt to a new climate reality. In this world, the climate has continued to warm. The extreme weather events of today are now the norm. Large parts of the planet have become effectively uninhabitable due to heat, drought, or permanent flooding. Food scarcity is rampant, and water scarcity is rampant, leading to mass migrations and endless resource conflicts. The globalized world we once knew has fractured into competing blocks, each hoarding what little resources they have left. The promise of technology has soured, creating vast inequality and social unrest rather than shared prosperity. Trust in institutions has completely collapsed. In this future, what becomes of our culture, our knowledge, our art? Who maintains the libraries, the museums, the scientific archives? Who tells the stories of our past? When a society is in a constant state of crisis management, struggling just to secure food and safety, the higher aspirations of the human spirit begin to fade. The great chain of knowledge, passed down meticulously from one generation to the next, begins to break. First we lose the future. Then we start to lose the past as well. Humanity becomes a species living in an eternal, desperate present. This brings us to the most unsettling question of all. Could we, the people alive today, be the last generation to experience civilization as we know it? Or perhaps even the last generation of humans, period? Not because of a sudden cataclysm, but because of a slow, grinding decline. A world where each successive generation is smaller, poorer, less healthy, and less hopeful than the one before it. A long, drawn-out twilight. Humanity would not vanish in a flash. It would simply fade away. A quiet, undignified end to a story that once seemed so grand.